Good hello friends and welcome back to my channel. So in case you didn't know, I had put myself on a book buying ban for the longest time. When I went to school, I knew that I was going to need to allocate my money a lot better, and quite frankly, buying books isn't exactly at the top of my list. Like groceries and like basic living needs were definitely up top. And since I'm making this the year that I read a bunch of my physical books, I had been making so much progress in the books that I already own. And then quarantine hit. And I had a lot of paychecks that had come in because like I got furloughed from my job, so they had just sent me whatever federal work study that I would have gotten until the end of the year, which is what a lot of jobs on campus did. But at the end of the day, I got a little bit of extra cash. So I decided that I would treat myself just a little bit. Okay, I want to say I didn't buy too much, but I definitely think I bought a little bit more than I was expecting. Granted, the biggest order is from Book Outlet, as you guys saw in the thumbnail, and then I bought a handful of books from Amazon. So I'm going to go through those Amazon buys first, and then we'll go into the Book Outlet books. Alright, so first off is Nevernight and God's Grave, which is book 1 and 2 in the Nevernight Chronicles. You guys know that I actually already read Nevernight, and I loved it. I really enjoyed it. But what I ended up doing was I had it from my library. I couldn't get God's Grave because there was such a long wait on it and I couldn't find it anywhere else. So I was like, you know what? I have a feeling, like I was like 60% of the way through with Nevernight, and quite frankly, I was tired of reading it on my phone. So I bought it and the sequel, and I'm going to wait until Dark Dawn comes out on paperback so that I can complete the collection. But I'm also really nervous because people are saying that they didn't like Dark Dawn, and I'm scared. So I have these now. Do I regret it? No, because I still really enjoyed Nevernight, and I have a feeling I'm gonna enjoy God's Grave, so we'll see. Along with that order, I bought Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I've seen so many mixed reviews on Ninth House, and normally I don't purchase books that I see mixed reviews on because if I can find it on Scribd or Libby, I will happily read it before purchasing it. But it felt almost wrong for me to not purchase Ninth House because Leigh Bardugo is one of my favorite authors and I want to support her in any way, shape, form I can. That being said, I'm really nervous. I don't want to, like read this and then unhaul it. But the Alex Stern series does sound really cool to me, and I like that it's a new demographic that she is writing both in and for. Hopefully I'm in love with this. I really hope, at least it's like, I really hope it's at least like a 4-star. We're not really off to a great start in terms of like the books that I bought. The next book that I had purchased is The Glass Hotel by Emily St. John Mandel. Obviously you guys have seen me rave about Station 11 for like the last like 2.5 weeks, and when me and Elena were talking about Station 11, we talked about the fact that The Glass Hotel, which actually, did this release this year? I'm pretty sure it did. Yeah, this released this year, has some connection to Station 11. I don't know, I'm really excited to get to this, and I think Elena and I are going to buddy read this again like we did for Station 11. So I'm very excited to read this when we do get there. The final book that I purchased from Amazon is The Library of the Unwritten by A.J. Hackwith. Now, I have heard nothing but raving reviews for this book, and it almost came as a surprise. Like, it went from a book that I believe this was published in 2019, and I heard nobody talk about it, and then I heard everyone talk about it. And I think this is one of the first books that I've literally bought for the hype, and I'm totally okay with that. I haven't bought a book for the hype in a long time, so this was kind of like an exciting buy for me. So now we are getting into the Book Outlet books. Now, I feel like there's a pretty solid theme in the books that I picked, with like a handful of like random ones, but I'm very excited for actually a lot of these, and I think only nervous for one of them. So I'll pick that one up first. And that is Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. Okay, I've had so many of my friends who like know my reading tastes say that I'm going to love this book. And I mean, if you've been on BookTube or Bookstagram or Book Twitter or whatever they call, I think it's just called Book Twitter. Book Twitter. There's no mesh thing, but so many people love this book, but at the same time so many people are like, oh my god, it's overhyped. The only reason I bought it is because it was from Book Outlet. I wasn't going to buy it for full price because I'm like a little bit more hesitant on approaching this, but from what I know it seems really exciting. Granted, I don't know too much about it, and I'm okay with that. I kind of want to go in a little bit blind, but I'm really interested to see what my thoughts are on it based on the fact that all of my friends have recommended it to me. So I had originally gone to Book Outlet to search for The Book Thief by Markus Zusak because I had realized that I loaned that book to someone and they had never given it back to me, which, like, such a big pet peeve. Like, this is why I don't give people my books. But I found The Book Thieves, The Nazi Looting of Europe's Libraries and the Race to Return a Literary Inheritance by Anders Riedel. I was not expecting to purchase this at all, but this is basically what The Book Thief is. It's got basically the same title. This is obviously a history novel. It was published originally in Swedish and translated into English. And I'm very, very excited to read this. I haven't read a history novel in quite some time, and so I'm really, really interested in seeing exactly what this story is, and then hopefully get into The Book Thief so I can see the comparisons and whatnot and how it was adapted. And then we dive into a bunch of historical fictions, starting with The Address by Fiona Davis. If I'm going to be 100% honest, I went into a lot of these books pretty blind. I would see the timeline that it was in and I was like, okay, this seems just about my alley. So this one is in New York in the Upper West Side in 1884. Seems good to me. Added it to my cart. You guys know I love historical fiction and I don't read enough of it, so I thought I would buy a bunch of historical fiction novels. The next is The Girl They Left Behind by Roxane Valetzos. This is in Romania in 1941 from the perspective of a little Jewish girl in Bucharest. We're looking at Soviet Romania, and I think this might be kind of like a love story meets historical fiction. And yeah, I don't know. I'm excited. Yeah, I don't really have too many thoughts except for the fact that I'm really, really pumped to read this. The next book is The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde by, oh, I'm so gonna butcher this. I believe it's Junot Diaz. And this describes Oscar as a sweet but disastrously overweight ghetto nerd, New Jersey romantic who dreams of becoming the Dominican J.R.R. Tolkien. And it's their epic journey from the Dominican Republic to the United States and then back again. This just sounded like such a cool book, and I don't remember where I had seen this. I vividly remember finding this somewhere and hearing somebody talk about it, but I can't remember where. Like I say, I vividly remember. Like, I just have the picture of this book in my head. So when I saw it on Book Outlet, I was like, this is a total steal. I'm gonna get this, and I bought it. It's really the justification for a lot of these. The next is We Were Kings by Thomas O'Malley and Douglas Graham Purdy. I believe this is like a noir style. Yeah, so the Boston PD detective Owen Mackey recognized the murder style as IRA's typical retribution against informers, and this is set in the 1950s Boston and Irish Republican armies. So I'm very intrigued to see what exactly this story is going to entail. If it's kind of like a noir whodunit, that would be really cool because I've read a lot of like Agatha Christie's novels and I think those are a lot of fun. But this, like, again, the noir style is super cool, and I really like the literature era, like the setting from the 20s to the 50s. I think it's some of the most mind-blowing, if you will, era to write in because of how different the times were compared to now. Oh, we have an image of the author on the back of this one. But it is The Summer of Wives by Beatrice Williams, and in case you want to know what she looked like, it's on the back of the book. So this is another historical fiction novel set in 1951, post-World War II, and I don't really know what this is about. It looks like it's going to be a dual timeline from the 50s to the late 60s, early 70s, and she is a renowned actress hiding a terrible heartbreak. So I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of family, we're going to see a lot of love. I mean, it's called The Summer of Wives, so I'm assuming love is going to be in the air somehow. But I'm really excited to read this along with all of the other books on this list. We are down to the last three. These three, like, while I'm looking at them, are so freaking random. They're just really random, and I picked them all up and there was no real purpose except for the fact that I wanted it. So I'm gonna start off with Starfish by Akemi Dawn Bowman. I recently saw Books with Chloe's reading vlog with this, and she loved it and was very emotional over the fact, and seeing how emotionally impacted she was immediately drew me to this book. I didn't even know it was on Book Outlet. I wasn't really searching for it, but when I saw it, I was like, I might as well pick it up. It's only a couple bucks. I think like the most that I had spent on any of these was $7, and the rest were like under $5. So, you know, if I can find a new favorite for $5, that sounds like a plan to me. The next is The Truth About Magic by Atticus. I own Atticus's first 2 poetry collections, and I had read this over audio. It was basically Atticus himself reading the poetry book to you, but because of how he formats his poetry collections, there's a lot of photos that go along with how the entire collection is set up, and I think this might be his most beautiful yet. I think the illustrations in this are gorgeous just from me scrolling through it already. Me like flipping through it right now. So I think I am going to end up rereading the first two and then reading this just because I feel in a really good emotional state to read these, and I think that's also very, very important. I know poetry isn't everybody's cup of tea, but I got the first book as a gift from one of my oldest friends, Lauren, and for her I am so thankful because I really do love Atticus's poetry. And the final book, which my cousin would be very happy about because she's actually reading it right now, is Catch-22 by Jessica Keller. I haven't read this. I don't really know why. There wasn't any intention of me not reading this ever. I think I just never ended up reading this while I was in school, so there was no like reason for me to pick it up. And quite frankly, like when you have to read thicker books like this for school, you're going to be much less inclined to read them for fun on your own. So again, set in World War II, except in Italy now. I'm sure many of you know what Catch-22 is about. I'm really excited to dive into this, and based on how my cousin feels about it so far, I'm really intrigued to see how it's going to fit my style.
There's so many books. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
I've bought 15 books in like 2.5 months. Now, I want to say for me that isn't bad because I haven't bought books in like 10 months, okay? So I'm pretty okay with this being my, oh, there's no way I'm gonna be able to carry these. And I'm like an athlete too, good lord, okay. So I'm not necessarily mad at myself for purchasing as many as I did. I just know that if I don't read these, now that's when I'll be upset with myself. But the thing is, like I said, this is the year that I'm reading, oh my gosh, that I am reading all of my physical books. I will read these, there's no doubt in my mind. Okay. Oh no. Right now we're standing. I'm not even in the film. They make me look so tan. Am I putting myself on a book buying ban after this? Absolutely. Am I going to allow myself to purchase the occasional book? Yes, but no more massive purchases. I think I've spent like at least over $70 on books. Looks like I'm gonna be working overtime. Let's see how I'm gonna do this. Okay, let's move these out of the way. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you saw any books that you think I like need to read right now, let me know in the comments down below. And let me know how many books you've bought recently, if you've bought a ton, and maybe make me feel a little less bad about myself. I'm gonna go try and organize these on my shelf now. I'm gonna figure this one out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and until then, I'll talk to you on Instagram.